So much better. I just want to state, for the record, that this is not my squirmy wormy. I found it on the trail. I, of course, am far too sophisticated for such Neanderthal flies. No offense to you guys that use the squirmy wormy. My fly fishing guru, I asked him what he thought of them. He said that he used to fish San Juan worms back in the day, but it always made him feel like a gutter slut. Water is still up. I came out here with a buddy the other day, and this particular buddy is very scared of snakes. Has been his whole life, approaching phobia levels, and we got out here and he got in the water, and he doesn't fish a lot. He got in and he said, "Whoa, it's cold. At least there won't be any snakes in the water." Like 10 seconds later, we look upstream. It's like this like 5 or 6 foot black snake like floating down the current, which was really swift, floating down right at him. Like if he hadn't got out of the way, it would have just wrapped right around him. And I'd never really seen anybody walk on water before. I think that was just something I read in the Bible, you know, but damn if that's not what happened. So he's freaking out, waving his arms, all that shit. Looks like he was riding a Segway under the water. And so the snake like obviously steers away from him and like looks at me and is like, "Well, this guy looks calm. I'll go toward him." And so I'm just standing there like, okay. I'm laughing my ass off at my buddy, you know, now I gotta be super stoic about this, but luckily the current was fast enough that it took it on by me. By now that I will have uploaded my latest random misadventure video, in which Brad and I discovered a very large copperhead on the trail, and I need to be very cognizant of where I'm putting my feet today, because I think it's definitely the time of year. But I'd rather deal with the snakes that are out here than the snakes you find downtown. Oh yeah, no problem. Perfectly safe. So I'm here in the third ford of the stream, and I think I'm gonna start fishing. I don't want to be an elitist, but I also don't want to fish the squirmy wormy. The guy said they were working really well down at the parking area. I don't know. I have a thing against like really sort of like lowest common denominator flies with cutesy names. But this hole looks pretty good. I think I'll tie on a murder bugger. Well, I broke my fishing rod. My Tenkara, my Go-Chur Breeze. You know, for 18 bucks, you'd think they'd build these things to last. I don't know, but they actually send. It was the second to last section that broke, and they actually send an extra set of the top 3 sections. But of course, that's sitting at home on my desk, so I think I might have one extra rod in the car. I know I don't have an extra line, so I'd have to pull the line off this one, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, fishing rod is repaired. New end tip, or new tip section, and new paracord wrap. You know, this Go-Chur rod that I'm using, I think I've been using it, what, 6 months now? I don't know. It's a lot of value for the money, as much as it's broken. First thing is, it came with a nice handle instead of a paracord wrap, and that handle is actually made of cardboard. So when it got wet, the end stopper piece came out, and I mean, this was, you know, after months of usage, came out, and so that's why I replaced it with the initial paracord wrap. And then when I had to repair it, I had to take that one off. So I now have a stopper in there held on by Gorilla Tape, and then the wrap is around the Gorilla Tape. Works just fine. I'm here in October Gulch, and I'm going after wild trout today. I'm gonna have to make a decision about exactly what I want to do about the snake issue. To get to the best spots, there's a fair bit of bushwhacking involved, and I'm alone today. So I think what I might do is concentrate all my efforts on a pretty wide section of river, or not wide, but long section of the river, try not to go through the woods, which will mean more waiting, more work, maybe more fish though. But I've got about a half-hour hike before I get to that part, so I'll see you then. Big ass snail. So this is quite a hike. That's one of the things I like about it here. Takes some real exercise to get to the places where I fish. There's some easier places to fish, but by the time you make it over this freaking mountain to get back down to the creek, or river, I guess, you got to be a pretty serious fisherman to be fishing out here. I passed a couple of guys, Tenkara guys, coming back the other way. And so you know there's nobody out here that isn't serious about being out here. Pretty sweaty, but it's very cool. It's humid but cool, which tells me I'm probably going to get rained on. I doffed my boonie hat. You know, boonie hat's a really good accessory in the woods, but I've discovered that it kind of messes with my hearing. I guess the flaps hang down over my ears and tend to channel sounds from specific directions, and so sometimes I'll get creeped out a little bit, and then I'll take my boonie hat off and realize that it was not footsteps, it was just, you know, regular woods noises being magnified. Been doing this almost 2 years now, and I've noticed that I get in tune with the sounds of the woods a lot easier, a lot quicker when I come out here. I can smell the river too, now that I'm down here by it. It's June, coming up on mid-June even, and this is like the last few weeks before it's gonna get just stupid hot. Not that, I mean, we're in the mountains, it never gets stupid hot here, but unpleasantly hot. It's really nice right now. Really nice beginning of summer. Yeah, didn't see that one coming. Woo! What a good looking fish. All right, buddy, let's get you loose. Come here. Thanks for biting. I think this is a... Whoa, whoa, buddy, 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 buddy. Whoa, 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 whoa. My friend, what kind of fish even are you? You're a brown with pink spots? Cool. All right, let's get you loose. I just waded about half a mile of the river. Got to the confluence, fished the big hole. Nothing. I got that one fish that I showed you. Took me all damn day. I get out, and there in the bushes, this dude in a tent, and he says, "Yeah, I hope I didn't spook them off for you. I waited all that about an hour ago." So the days that I have here are either really good or really bad. And I'm beginning to think that it has nothing to do with me, actually. I'm beginning to think it has everything to do with what everybody else has been up to when I've been here. Yeah, so, as an experiment, I found a little spot that's pretty sure was untouched all day, and immediately caught one and hooked another. So yeah, I think makes me feel a little bit better. Double timing it because I think we're getting ready to get a storm. Quite an outfit, huh? There was just a big rain here, chased everybody out. I came in at the tail end, right in front of these like 3 pickups full of dudes, all with fishing poles. So I'm hauling ass up the trail, try to get the good spots before they do. I'll probably string this on the footage from yesterday. Okay, so got rained out at October Gulch, and would have gotten rained out here if I'd been here earlier. Caught 4 yesterday, but it was a fight, man. It was tough. So, Pipe Smoking Board Gamer has been asking me how to clean a fish. He wants to see me do it, and I haven't done it in a while since my first fishing trip of this season, because I haven't killed any fish, and this little guy was floating down the stream belly up, flapping around, and so I thought I would use him as an example. He's too small to eat, but we'll clean him up and I'll do a little demo. Unfortunately, I left my Mora at home, so I'll be using a giant ass Schrade knife to do this. I'll probably cut myself and have to go to the ER. So, first thing you do is you wash the fish off in the river. And I bashed this guy on a rock. He's dead. And then once you got him nice and clean, take the point of your knife. This knife doesn't have a very good point. We'll have to do what we can and insert it into the anus of the fish. This is obviously something you would never do in polite company, and something you should be very, very careful doing, because you can really easily slip and skewer your hand with, like, you know, horrible fish guts and intestines and poop and stuff on it. There we go. So it pays to have a sharp knife with a finer point than this one. And once you get to the fins, you kind of need a little more force, but once you get past the fins, you're good to go. And oh, it's raining. Awesome. I might have to cut this short. And then you cut all the way up to the gills, and then you just open them up like an envelope. Scoop out the insides with your fingers. Pretty rough. There's the stomach, I believe. Maybe? I don't know. Yeah, stomach. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You just rip out all that stuff, throw it in the river for something else to eat, and then you'll be left with a bloodline running down the back of the spine. From there, you just take your fingernail and very disgustingly remove that. Wash it out. And now you have a clean fish, and then I usually, well, I guess we still have some organ. We got the esophagus or whatever still in there. But yeah, and you can fillet it, you can leave the bones in, you can take them out, whatever. I would probably just cook this guy whole, as small as he is. But I'm not going to eat him, so something else will. Probably a raccoon or something. Let's get back to catching them and probably keeping them alive. All right, as you can see, I got a little bit wet. It's pouring rain, and there's a fair bit of thunder and lightning. Trying to make it back as fast as I can. I was pretty far up the trail. I've got 2 fords left, or rather, I have to make a decision. I'm looking at the water level, and it is rising. It was already up a little bit. Depending on how long it takes me to get to the next ford, I've got to make a decision whether I want to wade through the river or cross the swinging bridge with all of its metal wires. That ought to be fun. Okay, I went with the bridge because it was a lot faster than wading through the water, but it's really starting to clear up, as you can see. I did stop to fish once. I must admit, I'm not the most comfortable I've ever been right now. I'm soaked to the bone, really dirty, kind of cold, but I'm having fun. I caught 2, caught one little wildie, and then I caught a pretty big stalker on both of them on the Tenkara Adams. Getting a lot of bites on the killer bug though too. Looked at the radar right before I left. Showed a big storm over where I want to go fishing, and I'm driving into the rain now. But sometimes it doesn't really matter if the fishing is going to be any good. Sometimes you just need to get the hell out of the house. This is one of those times. So we're right on the edge of the storm here. Kind of see, I've sort of driven under it a little bit, just under the edge. And, the road is dry in places and wet in others. That's how the weather is here in the mountains. You can be sitting on your porch watching your neighbor's house get wet and you're stone dry. But anyway, just before I left, I was reading the local news, which is quite interesting right now. Yeah, rain's about 500 yards that way. Anyway, Forest Service has put out a bear advisory above the usual bear advisory. Like, I don't know if it's like a DEFCON 4 bear situation out here, but apparently they've been having some problems with people and bears, but more specifically dogs and bears. And I have my own problems with dogs. I'm gonna side. I've only had bears spook my fish twice, but dogs, it happens every time I'm out. So I'm gonna side with the bears on this one, but I still don't really want to run into one too closely. I did notice that the advisory specifically told interested parties not to try to photograph bears. If they see one, to simply turn around and walk the other way. So I might amend my behavior a little bit. Of course, we also had a Bigfoot sighting recently, speed bump, and I don't think I'll be changing my behavior if I see a Bigfoot. I'm definitely going to go for photos. This is the point where I jump out of my car and try to chase all the worm drowners up the river, try to get ahead of them. I just don't have it in me today. Guess I'll just let them beat me to the good spot. Well, you know, they're usually too fat to. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. So today I brought a hat that might be a little more protective in case the rain starts to fall. Worried about my luck with the fish though. They might not like this one. And I've decided that I'm not going to stop and fish any holes until I get farther up the trail than I've ever gone before. I am good with that because between watching my son and working, I did not go outside yesterday at all. At all. I literally didn't. I went out onto the front porch, but I didn't step into the yard. So yeah, I need a little exercise. No rain yet to speak of, but between the first and second fords, the water got a little bit higher and a little bit muddier. I don't think I can pass this spot up. Let's do it. I don't think the fish like this hat, y'all. Haven't gotten a bite yet. And this again. It's gonna be a good one. I'm kind of protected under this canopy, but not really. I already fell in, so it doesn't really matter. The rain has stopped. I still haven't caught a fish. The water is significantly higher, which makes me really kind of concerned about getting back in my vehicle, actually, because I've got to cross several times. My hat did well until it really started pouring, and then it failed along the creases, as you can see. So that's no good. I don't know what I'll do about that, but we'll soldier on, keep going upstream. Woo! That's number one. Luck changes after a storm. Number two is a good sized brown. You guys see this fog that's hovering over everything? Kind of spooky, huh? 6:15. Probably time to start heading back. I don't mind fishing till dark, but I don't want to be way the hell out here when it gets dark and I'm I don't know, we had 2 storms, right? What are the odds of having a third? I really want to continue. Let's head back. Except that the waters around you have grown. Except that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. Your life to you is worth saving. And you better start swimming, or you'll sink like a stone. For the times they are changing. Ooh, I didn't fish that pocket up there. Good news, I caught number 3. So the largest one today. It was a brook trout, obviously a stalker. Bad news, broke my rod getting it in. So I'm using the Gochur Tenkara rod. I just ordered another one of these things. It's at home on my desk. I do have a backup rod down the mountain in the car. So I'm going to see if I can do something. It broke in the exact same place it broke last time. And it came with an extra tip set, so this was the second tip set on this rod. Oh well. I'm going to see if I can fix it enough to fish my way back down. If not, I'll just book it back to the car and fish a little bit down there and go home. Okay, so the rod is serviceable. Basically, I just threaded the tip back through the next smallest piece with the base of the broken off piece in it. So the action at the tip is very bad. It's basically like fishing with a big stick. But it does get the fly in the water. I think I will... It's now 6:45. This is how bad things happen. I think I will keep moseying and just kind of see how I feel when I get about halfway down the mountain. Whether or not I'm going to keep fishing with this rod or go all the way back to the car. So something even worse just happened, which is I stepped in a mud puddle. But people ride horses up here, and there was a pile of horse shit in the mud puddle. I fished a little more with the rod, and yeah, it gets the fly in the water, but that's about it. It doesn't really get it to the spot in the water where I want it to be. So I'm gonna hike back down and get ye old fly rod out of ye old jalopy and fish the worm drowner holes, I guess. Ugh. It's been pretty nice up here though, because well, all this horse shit. Almost back to where I was when it started raining. Yeah, I guess. Anyway, it's been nice because I literally haven't seen a single other person on this trail the entire time. That's never happened before. I guess it pays to have a different schedule than everyone else. I have to start thinking about whether I want to buy another one of these Gochur rods or not. Everybody keeps telling me I need to just bite the bullet and buy a nicer Tenkara rod, but I mean, you've seen how hard I am on gear. And I like having disposable gear. I like gear I can just beat all the hell and not worry about. So we'll see. I've yet to keep any fishing rod for very long without breaking it. Maybe I should just stick to the $18 ones. This is where I was when it started pouring. I'm kind of thinking maybe I should keep my wits about me about the bears, huh? I was at the fly shop the other day. I was a little bit stressed out, as I often am lately. And I made an impulse buy. I bought, even though I carry a pair of pliers, hemostats, whatever you want to call them, I also bought a pair of nippers, both from Loon Outdoors. Kind of 50-50 on the Loon Outdoors stuff, but anyway, they were like $7, and maybe they were $8 even. And I went up to the counter and I was like, hey, you guys have any cheaper nippers? I mean, come on, like, they're just nippers. And they were like, no, that's the cheapest we got. You can use your teeth. And I was like, yeah, I know I can use my teeth. Thank you so much. Anyway, as I'm at the counter, And I'm like looking at these nippers that are all like impulse buy right at the counter, right? And they're all fancy, and I'm like, well shit, if I'm gonna spend $7, I might as well spend $10 or 15, but you know, who knows what makes nippers. And I was like, how much are these nippers right here at the counter? And they were like, those I think are 95 and those are 120. And I was like, no, the nippers right here. They were like, yeah. I was like, $120? Yeah, $120. So I bought the Loon Outdoors nippers. Anyway, I've been walking around all day, and I keep hearing this weird noise, this like droning musical note. It's like sort of low tone. I keep hearing it, and I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, I know I don't have there's nothing metal in my bag or anything that could be possibly making this noise. Finally, I figured out it's the nippers acting as like a tuning fork, and they're bouncing against the outside of my dry bag and going ding, ding. Shit, I got the cheap nippers, and they came with a tuning fork. So what do you guys think? Should I try to waterproof this hat? Boonie hat, I prefer it. It's got more useful like pockets, not pockets, but little loops and stuff like that. But this one seems like it could have potential if it were waterproof. It was good for a while, and then when it really started coming down, I started getting drips on the inside. So I'd have to, like, I don't know, shellac it or something. Yeah, whatever. I think my nippers would act as a bear bell. Okay, no joke, there's definitely something large up in the woods. Didn't I say I wasn't going to do this? I kept hearing it as I was walking. It's up in there somewhere. Oh well. After that, a guy came along with a really barky dog, and if there was a bear, it's gone now. So here's the last ford, and I'll be back to the vehicle. Of course, the dog barked at me first. Some sort of pit bull boxer hound of the Baskervilles mix, and the dude's like, "Oh, he's friendly, man." I'm like, I don't give a shit if he's friendly. Like, is this the hat of someone who gives a shit if your dog is friendly? He's got slobber coming out of his jaws. I'll freaking gut him with my nippers if he bites me, man. I swear to God. Okay, so, let's see. It's June 13th. I've seen 2 bears and 4 snakes. Which is not a lot compared to last year on either score. So I don't know what the deal is. Must be global warming. I brought tobacco to smoke. I didn't bring a pipe. I forgot it. But it wouldn't have mattered because it would have been soaked. Before I stopped to smoke. It happened pretty early in the day. So yeah, tobacco's just dead weight, I guess. Yeah, because it's shaping up to be a gorgeous evening. It'd be nice to stand in the river and smoke a pipe while I cast my actual fly rod with a reel on it like I'm some kind of English royalty or something. Ow! What the fuck? Ants or something. Alright, last fish of the day, y'all. Little Wildy. This will be 4 for the day, and I think it's probably time to call it quits. Thanks for watching. Keep the ends out for the ties that bind. Alright, let's get you on the hook, buddy.